What up, y'all? Episode 77, business news, other shit. Great episode, y'all. We had Michelle Kerr on from Balance Chicago. This woman is a physical therapist that really is a business owner, and she runs a gangster business called Balance Chicago. We learned a lot about what it means to invest in yourself. We talk about it during this episode. We hit it pretty hard in episode 78. Catch that on Wednesday. We also talked about stocks at a record high again. I know I've said that so many times. It keeps happening, y'all. With what the Fed's trying to do with cutting interest rates, we're just doing everything we can to keep this economy going and this boom and this party keep going for 10 years straight. So I give you my take on that and what you should be doing with your investments. A new book is out by Dick's Sporting Goods CEO, this dude named Ed Stack. Yo, I read about this guy's story. Amazing. This guy has done some amazing stuff. He's destroyed $5 million worth of guns, has created all these new gun policies. It's powerful. So I talk about what this guy's doing, and, you know, good leadership is rare to see. Finally, we jump into talking about Elizabeth Warren. She has become the number one Democratic contender in the Iowa caucuses. She's taking 22%. Bernie Sanders is taking 19% of the vote. So, y'all, Medicare for all feels like it could be coming if Trump does not win. Bernie and Elizabeth are the number one, number two people. So the country is a-changing. Rich people are starting to quake in their boots. Insurance companies are starting to quake in their boots. Get ready for it all, y'all. Sit back, relax, enjoy the episode. Peace out. So I'm part of a men's organization. It's called the Mankind Project. We kind of refer to it as the Project. And the purpose of the Mankind Project, a.k.a. MKP, is just to, like, create better men. It's like personal growth, emotional IQ, emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
Right? I mean, men are, in my opinion, in a shitty state in the world.
I mean, I could tell you that firsthand experience. Have you gone ahead and, like, tried dating?
Me?
No, but just
Not to this day. As far as I know, I'm still straight.
Okay,
hold on. We're gonna coach you a little bit. Right into the mic.
Okay,
you
so
want
I
it?
gotta
You want
go
this thing?
like this way?
Yeah, because you're not speaking to this mic every day. You're probably
Okay.
not used to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I might even give you some sign language, like, and I'll point to the mic to remind you.
Cool.
Because then afterwards we may not hear you in the actual taping.
Got it. That would be terrible.
And so me and John,
Is this
like,
okay?
yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
pretty good right there.
We can hear you.
But if you have to, like, get closer and touch it, that's okay too.
There you go. Don't be afraid of it.
Okay.
So what were you saying? Yeah, have we tried to date? Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
Sad state of affairs.
I know you were previously married, right?
Yeah.
All right. And how long were you married for?
Like a minute.
No shit.
I was not literally
Month,
a
year,
minute,
2 years?
But yeah, it was like, I think all in it was like a year and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
And so a year and a half is still. I mean, I know people who've been married for like months or a month.
I mean, we knew, I knew when I could have called it off, and then I knew, like, on our wedding night, it was the worst decision I had made. So
You
I was
knew on your wedding night?
Yeah, it was rough. It's like a special kind of rough.
A special kind of rough.
Just a unique kind of.
That is not fun.
I had something, but it.
I was gonna say, I'm
escaped me.
waiting for you to say something.
Yeah.
John.
Do-do-do-do.
So I've been encouraging John to attend one of the MKP quote unquote warrior weekends. The goal is to make men into warriors.
All right.
Like modern.
Is this like David Dita stuff?
Kinda.
Okay.
What's David Dita? The Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah.
David Dita. I've read that.
Yeah.
Twice. Have you read that?
No.
It's good stuff.
Do it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You've read it as a woman?
I know the concepts behind it, and he does some stuff for women.
Actually,
as well.
right. I've
That's
seen him
really
on
cool.
YouTube, and there's like women in the crowd.
Yeah.
And he's like giving all this sort of advice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's kind of like that. Yes.
Nice.
All right. And so we had what it's called. After we do a weekend where we put you through some intense experiences, and then John did not attend the weekend. However, he came to what's called the homecoming. A few days after the weekend, we all get together and we're like, man, how about that shit? That was something. Yeah. Bring loved ones, bring family. And then people stand up and they hold the staff and they talk, you know.
Cool.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call John up here, you know, and just talk about how we're trying to get John to go.
Yeah. When Armour went up there, I kind of was like, oh, he's probably gonna do something. And then
Why'd you
slowly,
think that?
Well, knowing you,
Really?
yeah.
I kind of do put people on the spot like that?
Yeah, and the more you talked, I was like, oh god. All right.
This is going down.
I know where this is going. Like, I'm not just going to be able to sit here and listen to him. He's going to call me up. So,
And so I said, there's a man who I came to be a staff man on this weekend because I wanted this man to come through, and he wasn't able to come through. His name is John, and he's in the crowd, and he had the balls to come on this homecoming weekend, on this homecoming evening, despite the fact that he wasn't able to go through. I just wanted to honor John, and I asked him to come up, and I honored him. And John said a few things that were really nice.
yeah.
I saw a different side of you, John.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just what I observed there was like a lot of people clearly went through a lot, and it's changed them for the better and how their family and friends reacted and what they were saying. A lot of emotional responses, just people who feel like they've changed for the better. So like, I was like, okay, this seems legitimate.
It's beautiful because they come with their
That's awesome.
spouses or their kids, or like,
Yeah.
like, oh, dad's different, or like,
Friends.
right? You're like almost virtuous.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, John, that was beautiful.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that happened on Wednesday, and now I see you here on Friday, John. It's just a little
Oh,
bit.
this just happened, right? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It was this week, so I'm just, my relationship with John's a little bit different because I called him out and we had that moment.
And he was open and receptive, even better.
He was.
That's amazing. Well done,
He
sir.
yes anded.
Yeah. I had to.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
You didn't have to. You could have
You
been like,
chose to.
yeah, you could have been like, no
Yeah,
thanks, I don't want
yeah.
to stand up.
Yeah, but then it would have been an awkward moment.
That's true.
Yeah, it would have really.
Not your first, nor mine.
Yeah, that's true, but I had to go with the flow.
Ride the wave.
Yep.
Speaking of, what's up, Michelle?
Living the dream, babe.
Living the dream. Female business owner. You've owned your business for how long?
13 years.
13 years. And what did you study? What did you get your degree in?
So yeah, my undergrad degree is in athletic training and sports medicine, and then I went back for my doctorate in physical therapy so I could open my practice.
One can get a doctorate in physical therapy.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
One only gets doctorates in physical therapy anymore. That just changed.
Oh, no shit.
Mm-hmm.
Could a person come out of college and be a physical therapist?
After they go through their doctoral program.
Oh,
they get
so
their
yeah,
bachelor's
my
and
point
then
is they
go straight
can't.
through. Yep.
You can't just come out with a bachelor's. You know,
No,
and
not
so
anymore.
then with a doctorate, you are Dr. Michelle Kerr.
It's true. I am.
Wonderful. We're in the presence of a doctor.
Oh,
I'm not that
what's
fancy.
up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
I like it.
And what's up, Doc?
Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Huge Bugs Bunny fan over here.
Yep. Same.
Did you grow up watching him?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Had VHS tapes of. A lot of
I was
Bugs
gonna
Bunny.
say I don't think it's really on TV much anymore.
No, that's Boomerang. Boomerang.
Boomerang?
That's Boomerang's like the network for old cartoons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
don't
know
know if it's on anymore, but when I was a kid.
I feel lucky that we have you on today, Michelle.
Well, thank you. It's just fun to be here.
I always talk about Warren Buffett. I like to talk about Warren Buffett a lot. And one of Warren Buffett's best pieces of advice, John, you probably are sick of hearing me say this, but his best piece of advice is before you invest in the stock market, invest in yourself. SELF, self. And I think he basically says, whatever you do to invest in yourself, whether it's take a communications course, take a communications course. That's all I got right now.
Mankind Project. all
Mankind
of it.
Project. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Shit, man. You're good, Michelle. That's why she's the doctor and I'm not.
Exactly.
He's like, that will pay you dividends permanently. And something you were talking about before we started this podcast, Michelle, was something you tell your employees, which is you tell them, hey, you 20-somethings, or what you like to say 20-nothings. I've never heard anyone say 20-nothing. Have you heard someone say 20-nothings?
No, I haven't heard that.
I haven't heard that either. But you say 20-nothings instead of 20-somethings because in person's 20s, you basically see them as nothing.
No. I totally misunderstood that. Definitely don't let that get out. Oh my goodness gracious. No, just kind of like when you're 22, 23, 24, 25, it feels so intense when you're going through it,
Yeah.
and then you put a few years on you, and or in some cases, like the farther you get away from it, you're like, oh, that was just like a second in time where it was literally like 20 nothing. I kind of didn't know anything, so I knew nothing, and I'm just figuring out life to the best of my ability.
That was my 20s, totally.
Yeah,
John, you're right in the
so-
fucking thick of it right now,
Yeah,
dude.
I am.
Yeah.
Is what Michelle's describing true for you?
I don't know. Yeah,
Like-
because
Like, does it feel intense?
Yeah, it feels intense just with normal life nonsense.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
You can't see the forest of the trees. You can't see,
Right.
like, everything feels like, holy crap, like the Godzilla picture on the wall. Like, it feels like everything is burning down right in front of you, and your life is a total disaster. And then it's rainbows and sunshine at the time, and it's so confusing, and it's just
Right.
a total
It is.
mess.
I myself was also married in my 20s, and it totally it ended in a bit of a firestorm. I got divorced at 29, married at 23, so we were together for 6 years. Was your marriage in your 20s?
No, I just into my 30s.
Okay, you just
a little bit into my 30s, yeah. Yeah, and I was having so much fun planning the party that even though I knew I should have called it all off, it was just a really great party, though.
You got married for the party?
Yeah, fun fact, it was like a few years back, we were all sitting around hanging out at brunch, and we were talking about like divorce and whatever, and how like it doesn't, I don't think it has a stigma as much anymore, or if anything anymore. I think it's just kind of like, oh, well, you kinda
Really?
screwed that up, so
Yeah.
no big deal. Like it.
That's where I've arrived at, but that's because I went through divorce. I don't know
Yeah.
if other people have arrived at that who are
I
not.
hope they get there, because I mean,
John, do you think there's a negative stigma with divorce? He's 22?
I'm 23.
23.
All right.
Yeah, but like fresh 23.
Fresh 23.
you just had a birthday?
Yeah, recently back in October.
Happy birthday,
Dude, I didn't know.
We need cake.
Yeah, I'm not really big on birthdays. Like,
Damn.
yeah, when I was younger, I used to cry when people would sing happy birthday to me.
Why?
That explains a
don't know.
lot.
Yeah, it does. If you can,
Why did you
for the
cry?
audience, that's why I have this tone of voice right now. It's just because I cry.
Aw. I literally want to come over there and hug you.
I know. Air hugs. Like, you know how to air high. My daughter
Air
was 3.
hugs.
She just goes, air high five. Air high. I don't know where she learned it.
You know
but
that
maybe air
gif
hug.
of like somebody like in the fetal position on the floor, and then someone's just tapping them with a broom. There.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like
There,
that.
there.
Yeah.
Wait, do you know why you were crying?
Why? I was like 6. I don't know. I just didn't like the attention, I guess.
Did you cry at this past birthday?
No. I
Okay,
was just
good.
like,
Okay.
yeah, it's improvement.
That's
so,
good. I mean,
you know,
baby steps are great.
yeah. It took about 15 years, but
I just noticed, for listeners who are listening, I just looked down in the room, and Michelle, your suede not cowgirl, your suede up to your knee boots. What are these called? You're a woman, you know.
Knee-high boots.
Knee-high boots, thank you very much, are laying down on the floor. That's the kind of attitude Michelle has, y'all, is she's just I'm chill. I don't need to have my big old beautiful boots on for the podcast. So that's who we're talking to. So Michelle, so you're a physical therapist, but you own your own business, and you've owned it for 13 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. We're gonna get into more of that as it goes on. But I think what the coolest thing about you is you invested in yourself, consciously or not. You're like a great example of someone who's poured some serious time, effort, and money. And how do I want to say this? Like almost like spiritual energy, or like you committed to yourself because you kind of like you didn't give up on life, right? You had some challenges with your health, and we'll get into some of that. But yeah, when I heard that about your show, I'm like, this is powerful.
Yeah, and even to this day, it's when I look back, I kind of look at every year and kind of go, how did that go? What do I want to do different? Where did I spend my energy, my time, my money, my everything? And the biggest thing that I spend money on is investing back in myself, different, whether it's forums or classes or
You still do a lot of that.
retreats. Oh,
Really?
Definitely. Absolutely. I'm a big, huge believer in
Do you
all
have
of
any that you're really a big fan of that like is your number one or number two?
Yeah, Conscious Leadership Group is my favorite.
Whoa, Conscious Leadership Group,
Yeah.
CLG.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it based in Chicago?
Yep. Oh, but it's around the country too. But it's based on the book 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership
No
by
shit.
Jim Dethmer and
Okay.
Diana Chapman. And Jim's here in Chicago. Diana's in California. And it's It's probably one of the best things.
Do you know Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He's been my forum leader, my mentor for 5 years now.
Conscious leadership. What is that?
Conscious leadership group. Yeah, you'd probably dig it if you're doing the
totally
Mankind. This is totally up your alley.
Have you heard of the Mankind Project?
I've heard of it, and I'm wondering, like, I want to talk to you after because I'm sure that we have some.
We could talk about it now.
Like, who are the people you want to, that are involved in it? Because I'm sure that, like, not
tons of
everyone
men
thinks like in this conscious way.
Correct.
And so what I'm finding is it's a very small community. And
correct.
Like the more we can rally around each other. We always joke CLG is like a cult, but
yes.
like in a great way.
Yes.
Like Mankind Project's
exactly.
MKP.
In a great
way,
yeah. At times I'll feel like it's a little bit of a cult, and then we'll catch ourselves and be like, this is not a cult.
Yeah.
And we do a good job. I think MKP does a good job of not, making it cultish.
Yeah. We don't make it cultish either, but we
What
just
makes
joke
it a
about
cult?
Cult by definition is like an authoritative or leader who forces his beliefs or her beliefs onto everyone. Everyone has to share. I believe has to share those same beliefs. You're not at will to have your own belief. I believe that's a cult.
I thought the line between like personal growth group and a cult was orgies.
I'll tell you what.
That very well could be a definition too.
What's that Netflix show? Wild West? No, Wild. I forget. But there's a show. Holy cow! It was intense, and there was lots of orgying going on there.
Okay.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I wish you knew the title so I could look it up.
Look it up. Google. Check on your phone. Wild something.
Wild blank.
Yeah, Wild blank. It'll just come right up.
Wild Netflix.
Yeah, Wild Netflix. But yeah, orgies are part of it too, I think. Not all cults. Come on, I'm sure.
No,
not
I mean,
all.
I think it have a negative connotation.
Most of the cults I've been part of did not have orgies,
right.
for the record.
On the record, none to speak of. Mine either.
Yeah, okay, good.
True fact.
Good. John's. That's another story. His cults.
Yeah.
So I think you invested in yourself in a powerful way. The MKP. So yeah, CLG is another. Any other examples that you really like? That you've
I think meditation is critical.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
What is your practice?
I do lots of different kinds. Like there's Insight Timer, which is really great and easy.
Insight Timer.
Yeah, it's a free app. And then there's Sam Harris has a daily meditation. And then I've practiced in different ways, like energy-based things. And there's just a lot of different ways to meditate and just kind of get into your body and feel what it's needing and wanting and support it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I believe in that, listening to your body.
Yeah.
So investing in yourself, you seem like you really embody that. And so I like that. And I want to talk more about that. Let's jump into some business. Did you find the name?
Yeah, Wild Country.
Thank you. Wild Country. Oh man, that is it is not rated G or PG. Be careful if you guys are listening. Know that they grabbed some snapshots of some random, weird, nude images. It was crazy.
Okay.
Some crazy ass shit. Picture a cult. This captures it. This
So like some eyes wide shut kind of stuff.
There you go. There you go.
That was a pretty good movie.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Eyes Wide Shut. Have you seen it?
Oh, it's been so long.
Tom Cruise, The
It's been
Masks, right?
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman, maybe?
Nicole Kidman, yeah. That was when they were a thing.
Yep. Stocks. I don't know if you pay attention much to stocks, Michelle Kerr, because you invest mostly in yourself, not so much in the stock market. You take Warren Buffett's advice. But stocks are at an all-time record high. Did you guys see this in the news at all this week?
Things are like it's crushing it. It's
Crushing
amazing it.
It's
amazing.
crushing. It is amazing it. That's the best way to describe it. It's amazing it. S&P is at 3,066, all-time record high. John, did you come across this at all?
What?
There's so much shit in the news that stuff's getting lost in the news at this point with the impeachment inquiry and.
Yeah.
I get my news from YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't even know what that means.
Well, you go
Just
on
looking at videos.
You
So
open the
how do
YouTube
you-
app.
Yeah,
And
then
it kind of like you have a Facebook feed.
Yeah.
You have a YouTube feed.
and
Would you agree with that,
news.
John?
Yeah, but I just look at like random videos and stuff.
Yeah, and
How
depending
do
on
you-
what
podcasts.
like if you subscribe to like CBS,
Okay.
it'll start showing up in your feed. Yeah,
Oh.
I think, Michelle, I know you and me are probably in our 30s or 40s. I think people who are like in their 20s, they don't even know what a network television probably is. You know what I'm saying? Like they just go onto
Yeah.
their feeds or Netflix or whatever.
YouTube for news. You're blowing my mind here, John. I like it.
Speaking of, go ahead.
Yeah, I mostly just listen to like podcasts and stuff of just people talking.
And there's talking about news, like we're talking about news, So
Yeah. How do you decide if it's reliable? How do you decide if it's real life?
Oh, I just don't think any of it's reliable.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
really?
Yeah.
All right.
But I don't know. It depends on the personality and the person. Like if I believe like a lot of this guy, whoever's talking or this woman knows what they're talking about, I'm like I kind of trust them, because I've developed a quote unquote relationship with them. I've listened to them so much, It's a little bit like the old days of Ted Koppel or whatever. It's like whatever Ted's saying, I trust, or Dan Rather.
Okay.
But the truth is, were they trustworthy? I don't know.
I know. So it's opening a can of worms over here. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Disney. But speaking of business news, Disney Plus is launching their streaming app in 10 days.
Yeah.
Apple Plus launched theirs yesterday, $4.99 a month. Netflix has been banging for years. HBO Now or HBO Go or HBO Max, whatever the hell, this got major identity crisis. They've been going for a long time. I mean, streaming is, I feel like with Disney Plus and Apple Plus, these are multi-billion-dollar launches.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that whole like fall TV lineup thing that we've been watching for the last 5 decades,
Yeah.
right? I feel like it's kind of like starting to dwindle and go away. I don't know if there's going to be that whole fall TV lineup thing next year in 2020.
I don't even know how to follow that. Like, how do you choose? Like, I hate monthly subscriptions. I hate monthly dues. It's
Millennials would hate you then.
I
That's
know,
all.
I get it. I
I'm
get
right
so
at the top of millennials.
confused. Like,
I don't
why?
like people taking money from me monthly.
You don't?
Yeah.
Are you millennial?
Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't
Kind
think
of
so.
on the cusp.
I
You're
think
probably on the
you're-
bottom. He's probably on the
you're
bottom
Z.
cusp. I'm on the top cusp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the very tail end. Like,
John's favorite place to be.
yep. What, the tail?
The tail. Right at the ass end, right?
Yeah, on the ass end. I like looking at the ass. Yeah.
Hey, can't blame you. So yeah, shit's changing, and yeah, you're right. It is tricky to be a monthly subscriber, but I'm not gonna lie. I've dove in head first with the monthly subscriptions. I got too many. At some point, I just want to like cut off my credit card and end all the subscriptions so that I can just like figure out what I need to resubscribe to.
Yeah, right. Because like, how do you know you're getting benefit from anything? So like, or how do you know what to watch? And then are you watching it just for the sake of like, well, because you have a subscription to it?
Right. The answer is probably yes. Especially,
Yeah.
like, do you have a subscription to Netflix?
No, like everyone
You
else, I
don't.
use my
Oh.
sisters.
I thought they were cracking down on that shit.
I think we've had it for a while, and she's my
Nice.
sister, so we're related. It's
Yes.
fine.
So back to the S&P 500 and the stock market, all-time record highs. Why? There's been an interest rate cut this week again. As I always talk about on this podcast, the Federal Reserve Bank is doing everything they can. They're trying to like go into their magic toolkit and do whatever they can to keep the economy, keep this party going, baby.
Yeah.
We're at a 10-year boom in the American economy. And they're just like, more drugs, more drugs. That's what they're giving the economy right now.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Do you follow that at all?
I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Like interest rates and stuff like that?
Yeah, because it does affect me, right? Because like when you're looking at like, do I want to open another practice? How do I get more money?
Borrowing, right.
Right now, like money's essentially free to get.
Yeah,
like
it's
if
cheap.
you have your, credit in order and life is in order, like you can get a lot of money pretty easily, which is great and scary because you want to make sure that you're responsible with that. But no, I definitely watch. I like the state of the affairs is important to me.
Could you go into that a little bit? Like, I always think like, so I own a restaurant, and I always think like, no one will ever lend me money unless it's a collateralized loan. Meaning, like on my stock portfolio, they'll lend me on the back of that. And if I don't pay back my loan, they'll take all my stocks. Or on a real estate portfolio, if I don't pay back the loan, they'll take the real estate away. Have you been able to get unsecured loans for some of your business stuff?
For once you're in business for a long time, then yeah, because then they go like, okay, we're like,
We believe in this.
You have proof, like you've been around for 13 years. So now, when I needed the money, it was not there. And now that I
Right.
don't need the money,
They're
like,
ready to give you.
yeah, they're like, what do
No
you want? Do
shit.
you want a line of credit? Do you want, to refinance any debt? And
Are these just run-of-the-mill big banks, or is this a bank you've been with for 13 years?
no, I've had some banking changes, like just
So
like
even through those
anything.
banking changes, they still trust.
Mhm.
What kind of like what's some of the terms to the extent you're willing to share that they've offered you, like $100,000 at 4% or something like that, or what?
I mean, I haven't gone seeking for anything in a while.
They make offers though.
Well, I mean, they would be like, "What do you?" I don't really go on the they'll give me $100,000, so I might as well take it.
Right? No,
kind of
that's stupid,
philosophy.
right?
Right. Like you go like, what am I trying to finance? What am I opening a new clinic? Well, how much will that cost me? And how much of it, do I want to use my reserves that I currently have for my
Right.
business, or do I want to, go with an interest rate super low? Then it makes more sense to hold the reserves. And then they go, okay, well, you got like a few $100,000 in reserves, so absolutely we'll give you, I don't need to like personally secure it anymore. There's not a lien on anything anymore because I've been in business for a long time.
Right.
So it's just proving that you're trustworthy. What are the C's? Like character, credit, and the other one you should know.
Those sound really good. Character. Is this for the purpose of getting a loan?
Yeah.
Or for the purpose of getting?
Yeah.
Character, credit.
And collateral is part of it, but if
It
you
might be.
have-
I would think collateral. Yeah.
And then if you have enough of the other two, kind of like they look at like
lots of
what
character
is
and lots
going
of
on.
credit, you're okay, right?
Right.
You may not need the collateral. Okay. But if you don't have very good character, you definitely need credit and collateral, for example.
Totally.
Gotcha.
And that who likes to do business with someone they don't like? I mean,
Yep.
just be a good person.
This is from How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Boom.
I read
This
that
is a
book.
woman. You did read that book?
I think so.
It
Holy
should
shit, good
be-
on you, dude.
Should be a must read for people.
Here's the thing. If you read that book, haven't you won any friends?
I don't know.
Aw,
I guess I
you're such
skimmed
an
it.
asshole.
I'll be your friend. Reread it. It'll
All
be
right.
great.
John is my friend. No,
We're all friends.
Yeah.
What's funny is I did read that book and it did not make me many friends, but it did help me win business. I will say that.
Nice.
And no, truth be told, actually, the people I did business with became my friends because of reading that book. What I learned from that book was, all else being equal in the world, people would rather do business with their friends. You could be a smarter guy from Princeton or Harvard or whatever, but if I'm the guy's buddy, he's going to rather do business with me because, like, come on, like, life is short, and I'd rather have a good laugh or a good connection with someone than a random dude who might be smarter or whatever. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. You definitely tap into your network to see whatever you need. You need something. I'm looking first to who are my friends that I can help out, I can bring along with me, or who are the friends that will support me as I'm doing whatever my next thing is.
Totally. I'm the same way. I'm always digging and thinking about, like, who do I know that can help me with this effing problem?
Yeah. Or like, we talk and John we get to know each other, and you're like, hey, what I really want to do is, I'm like, okay, who in my network is doing something like
And
that?
you'll connect
so then I
John with
can,
that
like,
person.
Connect, right?
Nice.
It's like the pay it forward method of life.
Totally.
We talked about that
Yes.
earlier. So.
Yeah, pay it forward. Absolutely. Okay, so so interest rates were cut this week, and so you do pay attention to that. Yeah, and so if you do want to launch, what the Federal Reserve is trying to get Michelle Kerr to do is they're trying to get you to open up another physical therapy location. That's their goal. They're going to keep cutting rates lower to get you to open up another facility. The other thing that happened this week is the jobs report. Just this morning, today, so we're taping on Friday, listeners. 128,000 jobs in the United States of America were added to payrolls. 128,000 people were added to payrolls. So that was better than expected. Everyone thought that the General Motors, the GM union strike, their union's been striking, was going to hit jobs in a big way, but it didn't. So we're continuing, the economy's continuing to plug along. The unemployment rate did go up a notch to 3.6%, still record lows. I think, Michelle, we're in recession, but no one really knows it. It's a little early. It's hard to actually tell when you're in recession. You don't know often you're in recession until months later, because it gets kind of announced by an organization called, I think, NBER, NBER, and they like will look back and be like, oh, we had a recession that began in the fourth quarter of 2019, in October of 2019 or November. Based on the data I'm seeing, I'm like, this is not positive data. Plus the trade war on top of all the negative data, plus Hong Kong going into recession, China having the weakest growth in 30 years, Europe is pretty much in a recession, their economy's breaking bad. So yeah, I think we're in recession. It won't be realized till some months from now. And I think that the Fed is trying to get out in front of it and cut rates for that purpose. And so they're like, well, if we get Michelle to open up another facility, then maybe our economy won't go down to the shitter. So yeah, we're getting all these good numbers and jobs report, but I think it takes some time for the negative data to start hitting payrolls in a way where employers are like, I'm not going to hire or I'm not going to open up another facility. So that takes some time. Are you actually thinking of opening another facility?
Yeah, we're actually talking about it. I'm working with you're talking about working with your friends. A friend of mine is a commercial real estate guy, so we were like, okay, he's like sending me places every other day, being like, how does this look? So
Would this be your second facility?
yeah, I mean, I've always had I've opened and closed throughout like a bunch of. At one point, I think I had 4 facilities at the same time, and so you open it until it works, and then if it doesn't work, then shut it down, and like it's no big deal. It's just part of doing business.
Most people do not think that way, right? I think a lot of people think like, oh shit, if I open this and it doesn't work, it'll all be over. The whole world will come crumbling down.
Yeah, I'm less of the gloom and doom kind of person.
I get it because of some of your background. Which,
yeah.
So you're thinking of opening a second location. Got it. But remind, I mean, we haven't even gone in. So the name of your company that you currently own is called Balance Chicago.
Yep.
Right? And it's not your good old-fashioned regular physical therapy place.
No, we specialize in dizziness and balance disorders, which is a whole lot of fun. So vertigo, concussions, migraines, like just generally like I got a cold and I turn my head and it feels like the whole world has to catch up. Like it really sucks looking at my phone or doing my work or playing with my kids or going to a restaurant. Like all of life just gets really, really hard.
My father, may God rest his soul, and my sister-in-law both suffered from vertigo. And both have been hospitalized for it in the past.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to sneeze at. It's serious, and it does impact life in a negative way. Have you heard of vertigo, John?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Where'd you find that can of water?
In the fridge.
I was looking for that.
Oh yeah.
Good move.
It says armor on it. My bad. Yeah.
So yeah, vertigo. Okay, so Balance Chicago will help with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because medicine is not really the best answer for that, right?
It's not. It's
Physical
good
therapy.
for like 72 hours or so. Like typically, sometimes longer. It depends. This is like a big broad generalization, right? Medicine can help a lot of different things. I don't want to be specific to be like, oh my gosh, stop taking your medicine. Like that's not the advice I'm giving out right now. That's a doctor conversation that's different than here. But exercises and getting back into your life and figuring out exactly what the root cause is. So what we do that I feel is different is we get to the root cause. So instead of just treating a symptom like, oh, I don't feel good, we go after, okay, like what's the thing that was the trigger that caused this? And when you address the root cause, then it's fixable.
What's a common root cause? One of the most common.
Common cold.
Oh,
like
really?
you get cold, you get like sinus infection, and the virus kind of hangs out on your nerve and disrupts the way it talks to your brain and stuff. So, so we figure out like where exactly, like which nerve is impaired, if it's a mechanical problem, like which canal is affected, like what's exactly the thing that's wrong. Instead of guessing, we figure it out, and then once we figure it out, you get put into some protocols of like 1 of 2 protocols, and then like if you have this, you do this, and if you do this, you do this, and people get better.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
That
It's
is
fun.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
So I've had my practice 13 years. I've
13
been
years.
treating for a very long time from that. Before
Really?
that, yeah.
So have you seen dramatic changes over the decades you've been doing it?
Yeah.
Meaning like stuff you were doing 20 years ago wasn't as effective. As you guys have evolved and figured out new things, it's actually you're actually able to help people with these conditions much more these days than you were 20 years ago.
Well, interestingly enough, it's sort of the opposite of like when I started doing this, the common school of thought was there was nothing you could do for dizziness. You just couldn't do anything. You were just like, well, you're dizzy. Suck it up.
That was way back when.
Yeah, and it's getting better, but even now, if you went to your doctor, if you went to just like a general doctor, often they'd be like, I don't know what to do. So it's
not gonna lie,
that
most doctors are like that for most things. It seems like these days.
and our bodies are complicated. You know,
Totally.
like there's a lot that can go wrong. So
I love that you had told me you were just before this. I'm sorry if I'm revealing too much. You were at acupuncture just before this.
Yep.
Okay, I've done acupuncture once or twice. Walking in with a huge amount of what's the word? Not speculation.
Skepticism.
Thank you, skepticism. And I don't know. I think it did have an impact on me. How long have you been doing acupuncture?
I go on and on. I've done it for a while, for years. And like, I was literally being like, gosh, my energy level is just low. I'm just feeling off.
Fatigue or something?
Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, so I just called up my friend who's my acupuncturist, right? Go back to using your friends.
Friends, baby.
And she's like, I'll see you Friday at 2. I'm like, great. So yeah. And I just feel so much better than I did like 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago.
No
whatever.
shit.
Yeah. It's really dramatic. And it's the quality of it, right? Like you can go to, like, just like you could go to any physical therapist, there's a difference if you go to it. There's every podcast out there, and then there's yours, right?
Bam!
See?
That's gangster when she promotes my own podcast on the podcast. Boom. Can you do that when you leave this room as well?
Totally. 100%.
All right. So, cool. So, okay. So, investing in yourself, the Vertigo, Balance Chicago. That's cool. You've really specialized in something. I see that, and you're thinking of opening another location. I mean, regarding have you mostly just invested in yourself and your businesses? Have you ever invested outside of your businesses in real estate or in stocks or anything like that?
Well, I have a stock portfolio.
You do?
And I have my retirement plan and stuff.
You
like
do?
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And then I have a financial planner that.
Oh shit,
is
you're
like,
you're
doing
on it.
things. Yeah, I think it's.
Were you always that way?
No, I mean, I think I sort of, no offense, mom and dad, but I did the opposite of what they did. You know, like they kind of didn't, they weren't really proactive with their money, and they didn't really know. They were just like, okay, like this is what I should be doing. I don't even know. And so I had to teach myself to save my money. I had to teach myself, put the discipline in of 10%, goes into savings. And
Oh man, you're talking what
that.
I have the 60-20-20 rule, which is an SSS. 60% is for oh man, I can't remember. It's basically 60% will go towards your shelter and your food, just your living
necessity stuff.
necessity
like that.
stuff, right? 20% goes to savings, and then 20% goes to splurge.
Okay, cool.
And the 20% of the savings, the way I recommend people is to just have it pulled from your checking straight into the savings. You don't see it, you don't think about it, and just regularly each week, each month, religiously put it in the market. And it sounds like you've been doing that for retirement. My dad was different. My dad was a saver. He was pretty good about it. May God rest his soul. And I learned to save from him. However, his stock behavior was not very good, meaning like he would find a guy he thinks he trusts, like a stockbroker. And I remember distinctly, the stockbroker in 1994, maybe, 92, 94, something like that, early 90s, told him to invest like 50 grand in Apple. Okay? Within 3 years, it was at zero. And he lost it all. I think they sold it at like $1. Like he did the worst. He bought high and he sold low. The absolute worst thing you could do. And so as years went on, he never went back in the stock market. He's like, F this, As years went on, and I started to understand the stock market and realize I'm going to jump into the stock market and embrace this because I'm going to go into investment banking. I convinced my dad to give me some money and I'll invest it for him. And as I started to read up and pick a portfolio of 20 or 25 stocks, one of them that was showing up that my research was Apple. And my dad's like, well, I trust you. You do what you want to do, okay? And so I bought Apple. I bought only like, I don't know, 10 grand of Apple. Wasn't much. And then I bought 10 grand of a whole bunch of other things. And that was the year 2000. A few years later, the iPod came out. A few years later, the iPhone came out. And the rest is history. That 10 grand turned into like well over 100. I think it was like maybe $200,000.
Nice. Well
and
done.
my dad was so happy. So happy. Like he had lost that money earlier.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had made it all back, put like multiples of it, I was like, Dad, see, you can't turn your back on Apple, man. They got their shit together.
It is. They do.
Eventually.
It's true. We're all locked into them as we're all wearing Apple Watches and stuff.
Crazy, right? So, okay. So I got you. So you learned kind of on your own through, taking some hits over the years, how to invest and what to invest in, get your retirement stuff going. And I heard you say have some reserves for your business.
Yeah. So every single week, like clockwork. So it's either Saturday night or Monday morning or Saturday, Sunday or Monday. I'll go and I'll be like, look at what is the gross profit that we made this, and then expenses great, but like gross profit, 10% of that goes to reserves. Like every single week.
You are disciplined. That's good.
Have to, must.
You obviously have gone through experiences where you didn't do that.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Yes.
That's something else. I like that. All right. Yeah, that's really good. So, okay. So going back to the economy, rate cuts have happened. The jobs report has happened. I think we're in a recession. It doesn't mean stop. Keep investing your 20% is my advice. Kind of like how Michelle does with her retirement plan, right? You always have your 10% going in there. Some other news. Fiat and Peugeot. Fiat Chrysler is a car company. For some reason, Fiat and Chrysler thought it'd be good to get married. They have, and I don't think they've made much money, to be honest. Now they're merging with a French car company called Peugeot. I think these guys are all like not how do I want to say this? Like, the world is moving fast. We're clearly moving towards electric cars, Tesla, etc. And then two non-electric car companies have decided to merge. My guess is like they're just like, shit, do you know what you're doing? No. Do you know what you're doing? No. Okay, let's just get together. You know, it's like, I feel like one of them should have just sold themselves to like an electric car company to try and figure out, how to take all the sales from these companies and turn them into electric car sales. But that hasn't happened. So it's a $50 billion merger of two companies that have not seen the electric car writing on the wall. I don't know.
Or maybe they have something in the back room that they're not telling us.
These guys,
don't think so? All right.
No. They're like sleepy old car companies. Old Italian families who own all the shares for some of these, or old French families. Like, they're just counting their billions or millions, and they're just kind of like not at the cutting edge. Think of Elon Musk. They're the exact opposite of Elon Musk.
All right.
That's what these guys are, in my opinion. So that's been in the news. I don't really have a strong opinion on either one. Both stocks have gone up on the merger, interestingly enough. I think because investors were probably like, these companies are not going to be around much longer. But the fact that they got together makes them feel a little better, I suppose. I do like Fiats, I must say. Have you ever driven one of those?
They're quality cars. I mean, there's some quality cars. Like, so if you take the best of all of them, like electric cars aren't going to come tomorrow. So we're still going to be relying on fossil fuels for longer. So if you take the best of each of them, I live in the optimistic world though. Like,
that's good.
That they're going to like take the best of each of them, make an even better car. And then
I'm sure that's their intention.
Hybriding going into that and things like that.
So. Yeah, I'm sure that's their intention. The best thing they could possibly do, in my opinion, is themselves try and buy an electric car company, because I just don't think their engineers are in the electric car mindset. Like, they're not ready or trained for that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Is on the hopeful side, if they get their shit together, they'd be able to do something like that. That's a good point. Well done, Michelle.
Thank you, sir.
I like that. I think that's really. I didn't think of that. I just saw the negative part of this whole damn thing. Maybe because you're a negative guy, Amr. Okay, dude, chill. What, John?
You read my mind.
It was coming to me from my left ear. Another thing that was announced, Elizabeth Warren. Have you seen this? She's leading the way. To the extent you're willing to share, do you have strong political?
I do not
beliefs?
Discuss politics.
Really?
No.
You avoid them altogether?
Yes. No. There's no. I think that's just there's just no good way to get through that or
dangerous
that.
territory.
Yeah, that's just too dangerous for me.
I'm Middle Eastern, and we're like very passionate people. So like, in order to get our blood going, we need to talk politics. Like that's where we start. We'll have like the tea out, some hookahs or some smokes or cigars, and we'll just start choking each other to death about politics. To me, that's a good time.
See, I'm Sicilian, right? So we get a big bottle of red wine, a bunch of cheese, and some pasta and some bread.
You go.
We're gonna sit around, and everyone just gets happier. Like, how about you, John?
I keep hearing you're
German, so we just to get impassioned, we just beat our children.
Yeah, you're pretty stoic. Like, I don't even know if I feel
like
German and passionate. That's kind of something that doesn't.
We're farming, even though it's the dead of winter. And
right.
Northern Europe is all like about.
I think Germans invented wearing shorts in the wintertime.
Right,
totally. The beer fests, I feel like Oktoberfest is
we have to get snotted drunk off of strong beer in order to.
So that's the Northern Europeans, right? The Southern Europeans, like the Sicilians or the Greeks, are like, hey, let's party, huh?
Totally.
And they're having dinner at like 11 p.m. at night and shit.
That started at 2 p.m.
Exactly.
Going.
And the Germans up north are like, why are you part of the Europe? Why are you part of the European Union?
Yeah, winter time's coming.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah.
So, Germans, Sicilians, and Arabs, we talk politics.
Cool.
We love it. So, Elizabeth Warren is leading the way. So in a recent poll for the upcoming Iowa caucuses, she has 22% of the Democratic Iowans vote. And then I think the big thing with that is her Medicaid for all. That's her big thing. Is she believes everyone deserves to have health care. I see like a smile cracking on your face. Bernie Sanders is number 2 with 19%. He's also a Medicaid for all guy. Buttigieg, he's coming in third, coming in hot. And then I think Biden is fourth. So that guy's kind of trailing off. Those debates did not do him well. Nor did all that ass grabbing he was doing or whatever. He was up to some weird shit.
What, massaging other people's shoulders? It's just so funny to me.
When they didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
It is creepy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So weird.
Totally. I don't know how he was still leading in the. I would think that would be like kind of shooting him down, but
Yeah, any unsolicited
Touching?
massage, especially massage, because that's like a good thing. But if it's unsolicited, it's the worst thing in the world.
oh my god, exactly. Same with tickling, right?
yeah.
Like anybody,
Yeah,
Wait, what kind
this
of
doesn't
world
happen
would-
to you, Michelle.
No one just random tickles me. And I think in my, no. Like
Happens
that's-
to me. People come
all
up to me
the
on the
time.
street
Just
all the
totally
time. They just start
come up and
tickling me.
you
Yeah.
I was like, my question was like, are you the like one tickling people, or you get? You heard it here, folks.
As if you show you that you care, that impacts everyone around you. People notice.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what.
and that's the kind of people I want on my team, right? So I want people that
Yes.
care enough. Like they're not here to just like punch a clock and go like, okay, so I'm in at 9, out at 2 or whatever
Right.
time, and I want to actually like have more of them to like be a part of it, be a part of something greater, and
Right.
if something needs to be done, fix it. Like they don't need to come to me with every single little thing. Like there's a company credit card and they get to use it and buy what they need.
Right.
To
Trust. They're not helpless.
streamline it. Right.
Right.
So
All right, so back to the question at hand. So it was about Elizabeth Warren, healthcare, Medicaid for all, and you were saying something about how the last person you want to be paid nothing is your doctor. Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and I think honestly, I think our targets are on the wrong people's backs. So right now they're like healthcare should be free. So they're looking at doctors, physical therapists, dentists, like everyone, and being like, you should be working for free. Why? Are we the problem, or is it the insurance company? Is it that manual that's 46 pages that you have to jump through every single hoop and learn every nuances of their policy? What if we turn the lens and go, no, insurance companies that you're making $1 billion in profit every single quarter, maybe that's not fair. Maybe you should be paying your providers more. Our insurance premiums should be less. The services that you cover should be more. We shouldn't make us have so many headaches.
Basically, regulate more, have more government regulation on these insurance companies.
I'm always hesitant to get government involved in any of this, right? I don't know what the solution is.
But
because
that's kind of what
we're
you're
like-
suggesting.
Yeah, it was like something, like having a governing body being like, hey, you can't.
These are the rules, insurance companies, that you have to follow.
Or it's just us as participants calling up to the big insurance companies and saying, this isn't good enough. I need you to cover these services, and I need my premiums not to be so high. So for my company, we're about to renew. This is the end of the year, starting the beginning of the year. My insurance premiums are going up. It was like $150 per person.
Is this for you and your employees?
Yeah.
So not your customers. This is
Right.
you and your pro.
Yeah. So like from
You
a
probably have like
business
a
owner-
group plan of some
Exactly.
sort. Got it.
Like for the exact same
Wow.
plan, all of a sudden every single person gets charged $150 more per year for no change in benefits. How?
Same thing happened to me last year.
Right? So why is it that why should the healthcare providers bear the burden of this? Why should I, as a physical therapist, bear the burden of your high deductible, your high coinsurance, your high copay, like all of that, when it's some suit that's sitting in a big, huge building? Look at like those buildings. Like the biggest
Crazy.
offices are not healthcare organizations. The biggest buildings
insurance.
are healthcare insurance and any kind of insurance, right? So why are we sitting back and being like, health insurance is complicated, so I'm just going to try to get my provider to balk and like give me a discount?
But would you expect, you as a, I guess, physician, would you expect your pay to go down because if Medicaid for all?
Absolutely. It already is going down. They're already cutting rates. Literally, Blue Cross just last year just stopped paying for a code that they had paid for 11 years. Just stopped paying for it.
See, part of me thinks a lot of what you're saying would actually be solved by Medicaid for all. Her plan is a $20 trillion, not billion, $trillion plan. She would tax the wealthy, people who have over $50 million in net wealth, and she would take those billions and billions and trillions and pay so that each person has medical insurance. And it would be a government-sponsored or government-regulated or government-administered. It's Medicaid. It's basically Medicaid. Medicaid in and of itself, as I understand...
Medicare for all, not Medicaid for all. It's different.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm confusing them.
Yeah.
The difference is Medicare is for people who are 65 and over, right?
Yeah, but what they're proposing is like everyone has some sort of insurance.
Right. It'd be the equivalent of what senior citizens have.
Yeah.
They would not only seniors would have Medicare, everyone would have Medicare.
Right.
And I mean, as far as I understand it, you would know this better than me. Wouldn't you agree that Medicare, the government administered insurance plan for seniors, is pretty damn good? Or is that a mistake?
There are flaws in all of them.
Okay. Comparing Medicare to all the other private insurance companies, do you feel it's pretty good?
They're similar.
Oh, not too different.
Yeah, they're not too different.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not like saying like, oh, Medicare for all is going to be great. It's not. I mean, I just don't think so. And well, you talk about your wife in Canada. So if you like as a healthcare provider up there, you have to elect to be in it, or you go private pay. So what we're seeing is here in the States right now, which would only get far higher, which is already happening in Canada and New Zealand and other places, is that concierge medicine happens. Concierge
medicine.
Right.
Where the best physicians and doctors and physical therapists go private pay, and they say, I'm just not on any insurance plan.
Totally. Yep.
I accept no insurance.
Totally, I'm out. I'm out of the game. Like, go have your Medicare for all, but if you want to see a top provider who's really going to be great, you're probably going to end up paying out of your pocket for it.
No shit.
And I just don't think that's a great idea. I think literally the target's on the wrong people's back. I don't think we should go after. And like, so a physical therapist, a doctor of physical therapy comes out with about $200,000 in debt.
Right.
They don't make that. Like, it's getting to be, so it's really at a crossroads of like, so the student debt is so high. The interest rate on that student debt is really ridiculous as well. And the physical therapist coming out of school, they love helping people, and that's why they keep doing it. But at some point, it's going to cross because they want higher and higher salaries. Well, as a business owner, my reimbursement that keeps ticking away just a little bit, there's going to be the crosswords where it doesn't make sense, where I can't, like, as a business can't afford it. They can't, like,
so you'll start paying the
salaries
PTs, you'll start paying the therapist less, physical therapist less, and they'll stop becoming physical therapists, they'll quit, change jobs, and you're starting to kill the industry.
Right, and that's not what we want. We want the biggest, brightest minds. We want my employees are so great. They're so smart. They're stellar. They go above and beyond for our patients.
I mean, in our bodies as Americans, we are so outside of our bodies, in our heads.
Yeah.
You guys as physical therapists help us learn how to get back into our bodies, I feel like.
Right.
So you guys are super important.
So why should we cut rates for physical therapy? No, like, so an insurance plan says, okay, they'll say, okay, you're allowed 60 visits of physical therapy per year.
Right.
But after 5, you need another,
approval.
You need to approve it. So then after 5 more. So then what happens is you come for 5 visits. We go ahead and we go like, all right, we want to continue their care. They're like, well, wait a week and a half. So now all of a sudden you're in the middle of your care. You're just starting to get better. And now you have to wait
10 days. Yeah.
And then you have to and we just have to think about like the logistics of things like on our end, the hoops we have to jump to, the more personnel that I have to have in order to like manage all these nuanced things.
I swear to you,
just ridiculous.
For every doctor, I swear to you, for every doctor I see, I feel like there's 2 administrative assistants at all times in the office managing all. One of them's always on the phone with insurance, like, man, you better, insure this person, and the other one is just like trying to take in patients and like tell you to go where. I feel like it's nasty. Like the current system is nasty. I'm saying, well, this is the system we got. I don't know if they're gonna be able to successfully put the target on someone else's back, Michelle. It feels like this might be the best solution right now that we have. I mean, here's the thing. I feel like, well, I guess what you're saying is maybe they're not necessarily intentionally targeting doctors and physical therapists and so on and so forth, but unintentionally, that's going to be the damage. Is they're going to get paid a lot less.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're going to get lower and lower quality care. Is your concern?
Yes.
Why? But it doesn't seem to me Canada has suffered from that. Maybe they're administering their Medicare for all in a better way.
Well, it's still like, so if you have an elective surgery, so here you have an electric surgery. You want, let's say you hurt your knee. You go out, you're playing sports, and you hurt your knee. You can go to the doctor and get your orthopedic.
That's an elective surgery?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they go like, okay, I'm going to.
That's not mandatory? Like, I can't walk. I need to get surgery on my knee?
No.
Okay.
Put a brace on it. You know, like there's a million other things that can happen.
Wow.
So you can have that surgery in a week here. In Canada, depending on how populated it is, how busy that doctor is, they're going to be like, okay, cool, we'll do your surgery, but 9 months later.
Right.
A year later, whatever. Like you get on. So
maybe because we were in
like,
Toronto, we didn't experience that for the elective surgeries that we needed.
Yeah, and it depends on where you're living.
Maybe
right?
it depends on where you're living.
So if you have a lot of providers, then you're going to be able to move up. Or
are you aware?
Or if you know people, like they get you on the
list.
They
get you in, yeah.
Right?
Are you aware of in Canada that often frequently happens? You're waiting several months.
I mean, I don't live there. I have not lived there, but that's stories that I've heard.
Stories you heard, okay.
They could. So yeah,
some of it's true, some okay.
Yeah.
So she's leading the charge. So if what I'm hearing from some of my Wall Street friends is Wall Streeters are starting to prepare tax-wise, sheltering-wise for Elizabeth Warren to possibly win. With Trump, when all this impeachment happening, there's now a more and more likely chance that he doesn't get reelected. And so if he doesn't get reelected, and she's leading the charge, and right behind her is Bernie Sanders, right? So like, if Bernie drops, his 19% is probably going to go largely to Elizabeth Warren because they are running similar platforms, especially with Medicare for All. Just separate from all this, what about your belief about all these human beings in America who don't have good health care? Like, do you believe it is a human right for an American in a highly, highly wealthy country to every American should just be able to have health care?
They can go to Cook County. Anyone can go to Cook. I mean, there is absolutely there's ways you can get health care.
But is that true for the entire country? Like, is there a Cook County in every part of it?
I mean, I don't know if there's a Cook County in every single thing, but there's ways you can get help. Like, if you go to an emergency room, they can't deny you. Like, they're not going to turn you away if something happens. So and like, I don't know. We could get down this insurance soapbox thing. We could go down this rabbit hole a lot.
Well, what is it that you didn't want to say?
I mean, it's frustrating because when Obamacare came in, this was with the concept, right?
Yes.
Well, the only thing I saw from that is insurance companies raised premiums.
Yes.
Deductibles went up. Co-pays and co-insurance went up.
Everything felt like it got ugly.
Everything went up. Everything went up. So, and what happened? Now they're like, oh, well, this is mandated. And that's where they were able to chip away at reimbursements. So if we do the same, and that just happened.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, now that they don't have to anymore, now they're literally they took those policies and jacked. I mean, this is real life dollars that I just had a conversation with my insurance agent 2 days ago of what plan would we do? Because it doesn't make sense anymore. Like someone who's 26 years old should have a $500-600 a month.
That's crazy.
Payment. I take care of half of it, but that's still a lot of money.
Right. 600 times 12 months is $7,000.
Yeah.
Then the co-pays and all that stuff.
And a deductible.
You're talking 10 to 15 grand a year for healthcare. So that's what we're paying, 10 to 15 grand.
And for what though?
Right. It doesn't feel very good. It feels like it's all over the place, especially when I walk into my doctor's office.
And if you're young and healthy, what do you utilize a year? Maybe
very little.
$1,000.
Right.
So all of those premiums and all of those things are only going to the insurance company. They're not going to your providers, right? Because your payments, so you're actually everything that you make now, not only is the money you make every day Some of that goes to your health insurance premiums. Now you have to cover a deductible. So the amount of money you're putting in your pocket is even less.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, and it's making me question my stance, which was, let's get rid of these insurance companies. Let's get everyone to have Medicare for all. I experienced it in Canada. It felt okay. Let's dive in. Hearing what you're saying, especially about the reimbursements and that, it does concern me a little bit. So I don't know. Now I'm thinking.
And I don't have a solution. I don't know. I don't know what a good solution is. I wish I was like, I could be like, oh yeah, and this is the way to solve it.
Right.
It's not. It's messy. It's very convoluted.
Yeah. All right. So that's Elizabeth Warren. The last thing I want to talk about was there's a book coming out by the CEO of Dick's Sporting Goods. Y'all heard of Dick's, right? Mm-hmm. This guy's name is Ed Stack. He's written a book, and he was, for the most of his life, he was the run-of-the-mill CEO of a retail company. But in recent years, right, this guy just recently destroyed $5 million worth of guns that Dick's Sporting Goods had in stock. And that was a pretty big deal. And then after the Parkland shooting, he completely banned all assault rifles and other, I think he put in new laws, like if you're under 21, you cannot buy a gun at all. So this guy just started going on his own rampage. Walmart followed suit, and some others followed suit. And he said that he estimates all his new rules, I think like 100 of his stores don't sell any guns at all. So this guy's made some big moves, and he said he believes it has cost his company $250 million in sales by making some of these changes. I read this news and I read this article and his book coming out and all this stuff, and I was like, yo, how do I not mention this guy on the podcast, right? Because he's kind of gangster. Like, this guy and one other thing he said, one of the Parkland shooters had indeed bought a gun. I guess the Parkland shooter bought a gun from a Dick's Sporting Goods. And that was kind of the source of where this person got their gun from and to do the horrendous damage that they did. So I think, and so then he was called out, and somebody said he's been criticized. He's like, you understand that what you're doing for Dick's Sporting Goods and all these rules you're putting in place is not going to solve this whole school shootings crisis. And he said in a response that really spoke to me, and I believe it 100%. I'm curious what you guys think. He said, yeah, I understand that I'm not going to solve this problem, but if my policy saves even just one life, then I'm glad I did it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's what I feel too. The value of human life. And I think we've kind of like underestimated or completely devalued human life at this point. So this dude is kind of bucking the trend from a lot of companies. He's leading the charge on some of this gun stuff. The NRA hates this guy. A lot of Republicans disagree with him. But, I mean, my big thing is, like, how do we not just have simple background checks? I mean, just background checks for who's buying a gun, Do you, to the extent you're willing to share, do you own a gun?
I do not.
You do not?
Family members do. I do have a conceal and carry card, but I don't have a gun. So
I have a FOID card.
Yeah.
I don't own a gun. I'm strongly considering buying a gun because I'm starting to move my mentality towards. Well, do you have a view? Why do you not own? Why do you not own a gun?
Oh, I haven't gotten around to getting one, and
so
I
you
think
would
it
buy
takes.
one.
And I think it's something that you need to practice, and you need to do this on a regular basis. And like, if I were to have one, I would want to be responsible and know that what I'm doing, I can shoot well. Like, I would go to a range
yep.
and things like that, and make sure that I'm not being irresponsible, and look into like where would I keep it and how safe, like making sure that all the things. And I just haven't put any of those steps into my life at this now moment. But seeing where Chicago's going, it's a scary state of affairs. Like,
right?
It's not. I live in River North, which is arguably supposed to be super duper safe. And
yeah, it's kind of the
not.
Entertainment district.
Right. And like literally in
Chicago.
my building today, there's 2 community alerts that are, they didn't just like send an email out. They like posted them at every elevator to be like, watch out for these 3 things.
Whoa.
Watch out for, it's just not as safe as it used to. And yeah, I mean, I used to go and like, not that it's super great, but like, it's a nice day out. go to have a couple of drinks with my friend. It's 10 o'clock at night. I should be able to walk a couple of blocks home because I like to walk. It's a nice day. Now I have to think about it. Do I really do that? Is it safe to do that anymore? And so I'm not really like my brother. If he had it his way, I would totally have a gun. Like he's like, you should be carrying 24/7. And
Wow.
that feels harsh too. And so I haven't reconciled that all.
Yeah.
What the ramifications of it all are. And so for those reasons, I haven't. But I'm not against guns.
I feel like it's gotten to a place where because it's so widely available that now I kind of have to have a gun in a way. I never used to think this way. I used to think I had some tough stories as a kid when I was growing up. I had a dear friend who they had gotten hold of their dad's gun. This is in the 80s, maybe late 80s. They got hold of their dad's gun. One of them got hold of their dad's gun. It was my friend and one of his friends. And they were just a couple of friends hanging out with one of the kids' dad's gun. And lo and behold, they didn't think it was loaded, and it was loaded. And one friend shot the other friend. And it was crazy when it happened. I remember thinking, like, there's no reason a gun should be in my house when I get older. Like,
Totally tragic, yeah.
right? But then I've changed. I'm like, wait a minute, I think differently now. By the way, that whole thing with the gun, their friendship was damaged. Lawsuits happened.
Yeah.
Everyone, it was just so much traumatic experience with that. I'm like, this is crazy. Guns are not safe. Now I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, it feels like more than half of Americans have guns. And if shit were to go down and I'm one of the minority that doesn't have a gun, that does not make sense. So I need to kind of get a gun. And so I've been like basically researching this in the last few weeks of like, all right, what do I need to do and how am I going to do this? And just like you.
Yeah.
So these guys are taking, Dick's Sporting is taking matters into their own hands and making changes, and it's making headlines. I think people are at some level appreciating that. At least they're making it harder.
Yeah, it's his choice. And I think that, that's awesome. Like, he's like, this is what I'm called to do, and I'm following through on what I feel is right.
Right.
He's not saying there should be no guns. He's saying, if you can go have a gun, just don't have it you're not getting it from me
right.
or my stores.
Or you have to be 21 and over in
Yeah.
the stores that do sell them, and they're not going to be assault rifles and other crazy types
Totally.
of guns, right?
And so, all of this, it's a slippery slope. And I think we go back and be like, okay, let's start caring for our kids. Like, let's start looking at mental health. Let's start looking at
Totally.
like checking in on people. Like, let's get off of our phones and get in person with people.
How do we,
like, all of that to me is the bigger way to solve this.
Absolutely. Full agreement with that. We were talking about CPS the other day, and I was like, yo, I think there should, going forward in CPS, or in all schools, there should be a teacher and not a teacher's assistant. There should be a counselor or a trained therapist in each class. Because I feel like there's tons of education online now. Khan Academy and this. You can go on YouTube and basically learn from the best math teachers or whatever. It's all right there. The world has changed. And so now I'm like, the teacher's not just there to teach you, I don't know, trigonometry. But like, you're starting to go to school now also for, I hate to say it this way, but like, gain moral character, understand your role in society. So like, let schools change with the times, and it's not
learn
just
how to be a human being.
Yeah, right. Damn, there ain't no book for that. So or people ain't reading it, All right, so that's some of our business news. Let's turn the spotlight on you, Michelle. So we've gotten some taste of it by hearing some of your stories about your business, but you are an awesome story because, like I said, you really have invested in yourself for your professional career in ways that most people, I don't think, do. Are your friendships or relationships you have, are a lot of people like you, or would you say they're not like you?
I try to collect really great people. I try to surround myself with really great people. So yeah, like my friend group is amazing. I'm so blessed to have them.
Would you say a lot of them are similar to you? They own a small business. They invest in themselves. They're heavily focused on making themselves better and making their business better, or are you kind of one of the only ones that own a small business?
I have a variety of friends that are like a lot of my friends, entrepreneurs tend to flock together.
Okay,
and
makes sense.
Like, because you feel like you're alone on an island, and you
Right.
realize you're not. Like, every single business has the exact same problems. Every single business has staffing. If you have employees, you have staffing issues. You have, insurance issues. You have, customer service issues, you have to marketing issues, you have like it's all the same concepts. It's just what's the product you're turning out. Whether even as a service, like physical therapy is a product. My tools get you better,
Right.
like in your family business of like owning a restaurant, your product is not just good food, it's customer service too. You could have the best food in the world, and if you had terrible customer service.
I always tell employees, like, we're not in the food business, we're in the experience business. That's the
Right.
business we're in.
So yeah, and I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs that are super fantastic, doing all sorts of cool things, and then just everyone, like normal people that are just like, I want to live a better life. So through the Conscious Leadership Group, a lot of my friends groups it fit in those two buckets.
Okay, so I think it's a minority of human beings out there in the world that are practicing what you're practicing. So you and your crew, I think, are in a cool place, and so I want to learn from you. This Conscious Leadership Group. So what are you learning? What does it have a mission? What do you learn there? What have you gained from Conscious Leadership Group?
So it's really, but ultimately, it's taking responsibility for yourself, taking responsibility for your
adulting.
feelings. Yeah, and being a good human. So when people get in a fight all the time and be like, "You made me angry." Well, that's total bullshit. I made myself angry by something you did. I let that trigger me, right? I can't. How much power am I giving you by saying you made me angry?
You're saying
me scared.
if I'm feeling anger because of, let's say, my wife, right, or John, he does something that pisses me off, and I feel angry, and I say, "What the fuck's wrong with you, John?" You're saying, actually, Amr, you had the choice on what emotion you wanted to feel. You actually could have giggled at that if you wanted to.
Totally.
That's what you're saying.
A really great analogy is, if you ever had a really great day and you're driving in a car and someone cuts you off and you're like, eh. Or you're in a crabby mood about something and someone cuts you off and suddenly you lose your
You son of a bitch! And I throw my shoe at them out the window. I've done it multiple times.
Oh my gosh, that's why you're only wearing one shoe. That's amazing. I was going to ask. I felt awkward.
On the way over here, got cut off.
So yeah, I mean, it's just that, like, and so and also then when you're in relationship with whatever John does and say, hey, by the way, that triggers me. I'm taking responsibility for my anger, and it would be cool if you did whatever a different way.
So I wouldn't be triggered in the middle of the podcast. Stop doing that shit, John.
Never.
Smacking your lips.
Make me.
No fighting, gentlemen.
So, okay, cool. So in Conscious Leadership Group, it sounds like it's making you conscious of your, for example, own emotions.
Yeah, and it's this concept of like above the line and below the line. So there's a line that exists in space. So are you coming at things from coach and challenger and being from like, okay, I'm responsible for my own feelings, my own life.
Is that above the line?
Above the line, yeah. Or are you living in hero, victim, or villain? So like if you're going ahead, and this is where people get tricky. Well, if I'm being a hero and I'm doing nice things, like how am I below the line on that?
Right.
Well, if you're doing it you're going to turn around and be entitled or resent the person.
If they don't pay me back, for example?
Right.
Oh, that's a bullshit hero.
It's a bullshit hero.
Because a hero will do things without expecting any
Selflessly be like-
reimbursement. Right.
Totally.
And a bullshit hero, will go straight to victim and be like, F you didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or victim or villain and be like, screw you. Like I do all these nice things for you and you never get my back.
Right. That's the opposite of hero.
So
right?
this is how
villain.
like this little drama triangle it's called.
Yes,
So
I've heard of the drama triangle.
The
right.
drama triangle is amazing. It's
And
a
the only way
great
to get out of the drama triangle, as I understand, is through owning the fact that someone is a perpetrator.
Yep. Choosing your own, like, where am I in this? What's my role in this?
You know what? Let's take a moment and describe the drama triangle. Maybe me and you together can remember it. So it's a triangle, and there's three labels, and I've also seen it say, like, there's two. I've heard it done two ways. My mentor has taught me this. There's an inequality drama triangle, and there's an equality drama triangle. So the inequality drama, so the drama triangle in general is there's a perpetrator, a victim, and a rescuer, each at the 3 points of the triangle. Is that how you know it?
Yeah, and we use a little bit different words. So it would be villain, victim, hero.
Oh.
Which is perpetrator, villain, most likely. Rescuer is hero. And what do you use for victim?
A victim.
Victim.
So
Perfect.
victim is victim.
Yeah. So in order to be, if you're in, I'm living in hero or rescuer,
Right.
then I have to make John over there small. He
Meaning
doesn't get
victim.
to, yeah. he has to be a victim in my head.
Right.
So I have to make him small to make myself big.
And that's why they call it inequality, because now you're unequal to John.
Yep.
There's no equality. You're big. You're seeing yourself as bigger than him. He's seeing himself as smaller than you if he's in the victim.
Yeah.
So you guys are now in the drama triangle in your relationship in a way. You're perpetrating on him. You're being a villain towards him. You might be
or
like,
even rescuing him.
or rescuing him. Right.
So if we
right,
just
the
look
hero.
at like, I just am going to go along and hero him and take care of him
Right.
all day, then that's just as bad.
I swear,
as
this
you-
happens. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's just as bad as being like
Perpetrating.
beating up on
Right.
someone.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
or sitting there and being like, "Woe is me, woe is me. I need to have health insurance because I'm not going to get my own job that has health insurance."
Right. So, are you getting this, Sean?
Yeah.
The drama triangle? Do you kind of envision it? Can you envision it?
Yeah, I can see it.
I think we're in the conversation too deeply. I just wanted to check and see if you get it. And so then, so yeah, perpetrator, victim, rescuer is how I know it. And so then, like, this happens with my wife and I, and we try and catch ourselves, and someone has to own what's going on, how they're being.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's often I'll be perpetrator, my wife might be victim, and I've got to like own the fact that I'm like, why was I trying to attack her? I was being hostile towards her, you know? Or I'm also king of rescuer. I'll be like, oh, she can't do this on her own. I should go in and be like, oh, do you want me, whatever it is, do you want me to bathe the kids? And it's like, I was bathing them. Why do you? No, you don't know how to do it really well, or you've had a long,
Yeah.
So sometimes I can do it with a bad intention, and she'll feel that, and now we're in the drama triangle, and someone's got to own the fact that they're being what they're being.
And said, "Babe, you look super tired. I'll finish up for you, and I'm cool with that.
If you like,
If you like,
and if you don't want, that's cool too.
Yeah. And
That's a
being,
different
like,
way than being like, just
in
get out of the way.
relation-
I'll do it. You don't know how to do it.
Right.
Oh man, yeah. So this is like, and so then the equality triangle, as I've heard it, is they replace the 3 words with 3 new words. Have you heard of this part or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know what the. I think for victim, it's like problem solving. For rescuer, it's listening. I think is the solution for that. And then for perpetrator, I don't know what it was.
And mine is like coach is, challenger is villain. Coach, challenger. I always lose the third one. But yeah, same concept of like where now it's like, okay, I see you struggling with something, and I go like, oh, hey John, do you need something? And if you go, no, I'm good. I'm like, okay, cool. And then so that's how like that you come at it from like I'm willing to help, but I don't need to help.
Yeah, I'm not gonna impose it on you.
Yeah, or like I can encourage you to be like, hey, every time you do that, I get triggered. Could you not, from a place of, okay, I'm going to challenge you to maybe up your game.
Right. So the drama triangle forces a person to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, oh shit, what do I need to take responsibility for, given I'm in the drama triangle right now? Because I am necessarily doing something that I must take responsibility for to get out of this effing drama.
Yeah, and it's you take 100% responsibility, no more, no less.
No more, no less. Yeah, 100%.
Because if you're doing 100, oh, I gave 110% today. Well, you just went below the line and you're a hero.
And what's cool is sometimes it's me that is able to own it, and sometimes it's my wife that's able to own it.
Yeah.
And either one gets us out of the drama.
Totally.
Crazy, right?
And that's what's great, right? That we call it shifting. So are you willing to shift?
Right.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna stay pissed off, angry, scared, sad. I'm gonna sit over here and I'm gonna wallow in life's gonna suck for a while until I decide
right?
to. And then you go, cool. Tell me how's that working
Enjoy,
out for you?
yeah,
like,
right.
And I'm not gonna let it. You're not pulling me down with you.
Right.
Like, so if I'm sitting over here, being
I'm not going to
all
enter the drama
yeah.
triangle with you.
Emma, you're like, no, Michelle, that's cool. Just go suffer. Tell me how that works out.
Damn. That was episode 77, y'all. Yes, we did it. We talked about it. Fiat Chrysler. Go out and get yourself a Fiat if you think that makes sense. Don't ask me why I think that makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. Get yourself an electric car is what I think. Why am I even talking about cars? No idea. Thank you for listening, y'all. Make sure you catch our episode 78, okay? Michelle Kerr. This woman defeated stage 4 cancer and did not shut her business down all the while. This woman got into $250,000 worth of debt and just clawed her way out of it after 10 years, just paid her last payment. This woman manages her employees well. She's a marketing killer. Make sure you catch us and learn a bunch about her business life and really her personal life as well. She opened up quite a bit with us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Peace.